Well, hello. Hello there. Welcome to the broadcast. Welcome to the broadcast. Alex, you there?
Yes, I'm here, my beloved.
Yeah, so what today we're going to be talking about the 10 things that we learned from Ready to Love, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right then. You want to go first or do you want me to go first?
Now we know there was not a broadcast on Friday,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people were wondering, was there a broadcast? Was there not a broadcast? What are we going to speak about today? Because there wasn't a broadcast. So I just think there are a lot of things that we learned over these last 9 episodes, or first 9 or 10 episodes, that we didn't cover previously, that we can cover now that there was an absent week from the broadcast. So I think it'll be interesting, the top 10 things that we took away from these first 9 or 10 episodes. And I have a list of my five. I'm sure you got your five.
Mm-hmm.
So should we do the ladies first thing, or you want me to go first?
Go ahead. You go first as guest.
Okay. Oh, you're all hot. If you wasn't on there, I'd be crying right now. I'm so touched. The five things that I've learned from
Oh,
RTS.
well,
From
okay. Wait a minute. Wait. Maybe I should have
what?
specified. Okay, so let me just stop you right there. Just we're gonna take it one at a time, and we'll go back and forth. Okay, how about that?
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's a good way to do it. So I'll outline my one, then you do your one, then I'll do two, then you'll do your two,
We
that
got
kind of
that.
thing.
We'll discuss it. Okay, right. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So the five things I learned from
The
Ready
first
to
thing.
Love. Yeah. The first thing is thinking you know what you want too soon is not always a good thing. And the first person come to mind with that is the Tyrone Shiloh situation. But then we saw it again. We saw it a few times going through the season, and then we also happened to Shiloh. Shiloh happened to get bitten her behind that. You see what I'm saying? So what she did to Tyrone came back to get her with Phil. So in the beginning, Tyrone he just wanted Shiloh right from the beginning. That's my wife. That's my wife.
Right.
And I guess it kind of scared her a little
Mm-hmm.
bit. It was too soon. He wasn't, going through the process, and she just told him, and rightfully so. I agreed with her at the time that she got to
Right.
go through the process,
Yeah.
and but now knowing what Tyrone felt, she's feeling that now because Phil's putting her through the exact same thing, because she made a commitment that Phil was it for her. That was her decision. She was going straight forward ahead with him. And he's like, put the brakes on that. So, you know, so now she know how that feels. So
Yeah, that's kind of ironic. Do you feel like let me just jump in here for a second, okay? I love your point. Do you feel like in any way, shape, or form, just your feeling, not that we know what Shiloh is actually thinking, but do you feel as if maybe back when Tyrone was on the show and she wasn't ready and she said, it's my process, you're not going through the process, and I am going to go through my process. Do you feel like any part of that was that she really actually was in part saying too that she really didn't choose him, that she wasn't as attracted to him? Do you feel that?
well unlike the crazy Camille situation, I think had she done that, she'd have came off as another Camille, which, from day one, moment one, right after the introductions, she wanted Cornelius. Camille did. And she didn't even give the process no opportunity. And neither did Cornelius. So I think in her efforts to give that to the show and give that to herself, um, she wanted to go through the process, but again, I don't think she was totally sold on Tyrone, whether it was his, he's a very intelligent guy, got a great job. I'm pretty sure he makes great money. Um, but I'm not sure if she was sold on, his looks, his personality, whatever the situation may have been. It didn't hit her the way it hit him. So she was being her true, authentic self. and being honest with him about it, but he still was hurt in the process. She was hurt to have to tell him that, but now she's on the opposite end of it with Phil. So I guess we reap what we sow.
Right. And like I said, I think that too is possible that fate has a way of coming back to bite you. So I guess that's what you're saying too. We reap what we sow. But I don't see it necessarily as her reaping it, but I do see that in her situation with Phil, what what I feel uncomfortable about for her is that she continued to keep asking for something that clearly, especially as an intimacy coach, she should have been able to see that if you're asking someone all the time, how do you feel about me? Where do I stand with you? Then it's very possible that they're not as interested or into you as you are into them. And you have to just kind of step back, because by going forward, the other person is repelled and they step away.
Right, right. So, but that's like I said, that's just one of the biggest things that I guess we both learned watching this season. You know, look deep before you leap. You know,
Right, right, right. Exactly. Exactly. Look deep before you leap, because I mean, you can't just jump in there and just assume that because you're all in on a person. Relationships take time. I don't know where people get this idea that today we meet, tomorrow we get engaged, and the day after that we get married. I don't understand that. I really don't understand that, but I think that, it behooves everyone to protect their heart. You want to be some parts open and vulnerable, but give it a chance to get to know the person first, right? Right? Hello? So I think that's important. I think that we really have to get to know one another. We can't just assume that things are that the person is just as in love with us as we are with them, right?
yeah, yeah. Can you hear me, Aubrey?
Now I can, yes.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
Sorry about
Good.
that.
No problem.
Yeah, but these things just take work, and as the old saying goes, it takes years, it takes an inordinate amount of time to build trust, but a moment to break it,
Right.
and the fact that it's probably almost nearly impossible to regain trust after it's been broken. It's not impossible, but it's almost as close as impossible as you can get to regain somebody's trust after you've broken it. So is that kind of thing, with this situation. I guess she don't see it that way. She gave the process her best effort. We're on episode 10, I think, and
Mhm.
not coming up or episode 10. So, we're getting toward the end. So I think she gave the process her best effort. She decided on Phil, and right now he's just not all in on her right now. I think he likes her, obviously, but I don't think he's all in.
Right, and it could be a sign that what someone said from the last season, and it's just that sometimes in life you have to choose yourself. Sometimes you're getting to know someone, you're dating them, everything seems to be going well, you seem to be really gelling, and then there comes a point in the relationship where that person, and this may be, it's not you, it's them, it comes a point in the relationship where they're maybe incapable of going any further with you, or maybe they're incapable of going any further with anyone. So you just never know. And I think you have to stay open to the fact that not everybody is relationship material. Just like everybody isn't marriage material, I don't think that everybody is relationship material. So I think that's something that Shiloh could consider there too. So I definitely think
Yeah.
you're onto something though. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that's number one. If you want to get to your number one, let's address your number one. But I think we've covered everything with that, and I think we made some very good points.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
yeah,
I just wanted to point out that Felicia is saying she wants to ask the question, what do you think? Who broke the trust in the relationship between Phil and Shiloh? What are your thoughts on that real quick before we go on?
who broke the trust?
Mhm.
Um, well, that depends on the communication. See, I can say Phil right now because I guess Phil really gave her the impression through his actions that it was going to be all her, that he was going to be into all her. So I guess through his actions, he gave her, the impression that
Yeah.
okay, it's going to be you. We're going to do this together. So I mean, I guess that could be somewhat deceptive, if he's get. But again, and I always say this, unless there was a definitive discussion, because with men, I'm a man. I'm telling you as a man, unless you sit down with a man and say, is it about me and you right now? And he don't answer you, or he say no, not right now, or he say yes, I'm all into you right now, and doesn't, then he's a liar, he's deceptive. If he doesn't say it, but you want to believe that, that's on you. Then you choosing to not see and hurt yourself because he never said it's all about me and you right now. So I guess to say in some ways, I'm not straddling the fence on this, but if they've been hanging out and doing these different things or whatever, maybe some stuff behind the scenes we don't know about.
Mhm.
If he's giving her the impression that she's the one and had her all in on that thought process and then backed away from it, then I would have to put the onus on him.
I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. And I think he did show some signs and he did indicate to her. And we don't know. That's the other thing. We really don't know what happens outside of the show. We don't see these dates that they have. And Felicia is saying that she agrees with you, Alex. She's saying that, yeah, she agrees with you that Phil did break the trust.
Yeah,
Okay, so
absolutely.
continuing on and kind of in that same vein, I said my number one was allowing a man to show you where he is in his process as you continue to date other men. I
Mm,
think it's important for women, single women who are dating and dating for commitment and for marriage. I think it's important to allow the man to show you, not tell you, but to show you where he is in his process. And I think that kind of plays out in that scene again in Shiloh and Phil. But then we also see that in some of the other men on the episodes too, but particularly in Phil, we
mm-hmm,
see that, right?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So do you see what
So
I'm saying? That he's not showing, allowing the man to show you, because I think with the other way is that Shiloh is wanting him to clearly state, but my opinion is that people show you who they are. They don't have to tell you. Watch their behavior.
mm-hmm,
Watch their
right.
behavior.
Yeah, but see, you know, Cornelius, up to the time they exited the show, he never said, I want Camille. That's my decision. That she said it from the very beginning.
That's a good example of the opposite. You're right. But he also never really showed it either. I mean, because she basically had to browbeat with Cornelius and Camille, right? So Camille basically had to browbeat Cornelius into
It's a
basically being
submission.
into well, I'm not going to even use that term, sir. Um,
I'll
she
use it.
she basically browbeat him. She worked with the women and she basically isolated. I'm going to use this term. She isolated him. She
Mm-hmm.
made it very difficult for any woman to really want to get to know him because, you know, what might happen. There was a lot of intimidation on her part,
Right.
right? Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
because when she starts spouting about how she's going to f somebody up and these kind of things, it's like what for real, really? So the women like Aisha, Sabrina, they looking at this going, oh, is that what we're doing? So if we show interest in him, you going to f us up, right? So it's that kind of BS that the audience just can't go for. You know what I mean? So they just can't be bothered with that. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's a difficult call to make. It's a
You're
very
right.
difficult call to make. Yeah.
You're right. You're right. You ready with your number two?
Yes, yes. I want you to start with your number two first, though, as
Oh,
we
okay. You want me
agreed.
to go? Okay. Okay. All right. That's fine. That is fine. Let me look here on my notes. Okay, so my number two is I don't believe that women should worry about the connection that a man has with another woman outside of and I'm not saying okay, so this is single people dating other single people. I'm not talking about any legal connections with a wife or anything like that. That's a whole nother ball game. But we're for the sake of this discussion, we're talking about single unmarried people that are dating, right?
Uh
Okay, so
huh.
I feel like women shouldn't worry about his connection that he's having with other women, and that the woman, we can all learn to focus more on our connection with each other. And
Mm-hmm.
so, in saying that, then I guess I'll state the unstated, and that is that you're not sleeping with this person at this point in time in the relationship. You're getting to know one another.
Okay. Now, just so I totally understand what you're saying, rephrase your number two again for me. Just repeat it again for me.
All right, sure. I'm saying that I think that not to worry is not a thing. Don't worry about his connection with other women. Focus only on your connection with him. Focus on your connection with each other.
Mm-hmm. You know what? And say that's why I wanted you to repeat it so I was clear, because the first thing that comes to mind when you say that is Sabrina, Walter, and Mumin, right? They're the first ones that come to mind because
Exactly.
Sabrina did not worry about Mumin in the least, what her connection with
Exactly.
Walter was or nothing. Mumin was worried with Sabrina, okay, and how much time Walter was spending
Yes.
with Sabrina and so forth, and she let Sabrina get in her head. So
Mhm.
so so much so that she went to entertain Frank's advances because she's like, well, and 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 Walter never said he wasn't interested in you. He just said he doesn't know. It's between the two of you. It's getting down to crunch time or whatever, and it's
Mhm.
between the two of you. But see, Sabrina would sit at that piano, wouldn't pay Mumi no mind. She'd come stand by the piano and watch her and Walter, watch Sabrina and Walter, and she wouldn't even pay Mumi no mind, like she wasn't even there, you know.
Right.
But yet, when Sabrina was in the pool again, just ignoring the whole thing, just floating along like doody 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 doody, right,
Doody doody
right,
doody do.
right, just
Yes,
floating
yes.
along,
Floating along
carefree,
with not a care in the world, and
not a care in
that's
the
what I'm
world.
saying. That's what I'm saying because me myself, I'm not gonna fight for no man. No,
Mm-hmm,
no, no, no.
mm-hmm.
Understand that clearly. I'm not fighting for no man, especially when it's not even mine. No, I'm not fighting for him because at the end of the day, people will do what they're going to do. So
Right.
I'm just gonna sit back and watch. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
sit back and watch, and I'm going to focus on our connection because a lot of times the connection that you have with the man or the lack thereof is telling you everything you need to know. Once again, watch the behavior.
Right. Right. Watch the
Mhm.
behavior. So I definitely agree with that. Because when a person is so confident in themselves and their ability and what they got going on and their connection with the other person, they don't really have time to worry about anybody else. Because their attitude is, look, if he don't choose me or she don't choose me, that's their loss. Okay. I'm good. And so if they want to choose the other person, whatever, but they don't have to be insulting about it like
No.
Zadia was with Aisha when she put her finger in Dante's face, because
Right.
for some reason Zadia think that Aisha is a businesswoman in the toughest place.
Hello? In the toughest place where? Hello?
Yeah, I said she's in the toughest place, to conduct business, New York City.
Right, right,
you
right.
know. So she owns her own business. It's tough in New York City. She's a mother, a beautiful woman, but for some reason,
Mhm.
Zadia thinks she's a dummy. I don't know where this coming from, other
I
than
I think that Zadia is offended. And unfortunately for her, she's offended by the wrong thing. She's offended. She's insecure. She sees a woman and she sees herself on a platform where she's untouchable. And that's not really the case. She's untouchable and no one is better than her and no man will ever want any woman other than her. She's got a real big inflated, super inflated ego, and unfortunately for her, it's just not happening that way.
right, exactly. So I definitely agree with your point. Sabrina and Walter and Mumine immediately came to my mind with your second point of the lessons learned. So yeah, I definitely agree with that. Focus on your connection and not anybody else's connection. That's how you're gonna
Right.
win.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So my number two in this regard, any questions on the board regarding your number two?
No. No, there aren't.
Okay. Okay. My number two, I know who you're gonna think of immediately when I say this. Okay. Women befriend and manipulate other women to keep them away from their man. Now, this is old school stuff. Okay, this has been done way before Ready to Love. This is stuff that just been going on throughout history. Okay, when you see someone as a threat, like Camille saw Zadia as a threat, she may have saw a couple other women as threats or whatever. If she can't befriend and manipulate them, then she uses fear and intimidation. Okay, and
Right.
in Zadia's case, she was able to befriend her and manipulate her and make her think, oh, we girls, it's the brown girl clique, blah, blah, blah. So you know Cornelius is mine. So your loyalty to me should make you stay away. But Cornelius himself said he had been interested in Zadia. Okay. And if he's saying it, obviously Camille must have felt that.
Mm.
So this is why the two of them, or she chose to try to keep Zadia close. You know the old expression, keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer. You
Right.
know,
Right. I hadn't thought
so
of it that way. That's a good point.
you know what I mean. So it's old practice, and so as soon as I saw it, I knew exactly what it was. The Brown Girls
Okay.
Club. No, the Brown Girls Club. I know exactly what it was. You know,
Right.
so it's like you just a manipulator. You're a manipulator. You're a bully because those that you can't manipulate, you start talking about you're going to f them up, and everybody's not definitely not going for that. Aisha ain't going for that. You know what I mean? And truth be told, I don't think she want to squabble with Aisha like that.
No,
You know what I
I
mean?
don't think so either.
You know, you know what I'm saying? Because your mouth can write a check, your behind can't cash.
As they say. Yep, that's right.
So so all that talking and big mouth and intimidation and all that, see, that's just talk. At some point, somebody gonna say, okay, so what you want to do? Because see, where I'm from New York. I'm from Brooklyn, born and raised.
Okay.
And
All right.
that's just how we conducted ourselves. Somebody sitting there yapping. Listen. What you want to do? I'm not gonna sit here and argue with you all day. We're not doing this all day. What you want to do right now? And that's how we settled stuff. So I mean, that's street stuff, but it still applies. You get out into the real world because you may not conduct yourself as a street person as you mature and get older, but you never lose those practices. You never lose that, and you shouldn't because it's helped you
Mhm.
survive. It's helped you survive. So,
Mhm.
but I think Camille's an ultimate manipulator and a bully, and I think that's my part too, to make women recognize that behavior. You know,
Ah. See, and I never thought this point right here that you make is a very excellent point because I never thought about this. I never thought about it like this, that other women would befriend you and try to pull you closer to them just because they don't want you to address their man. They don't want you to address or even not even their man, but their love interest because let's say that they just met him at the same time you met him, they're going to become your friend and then they're going to make you feel some kind of way for them. So, like myself, I've never try to date or flirt with any of my girlfriends, boyfriends, fiancés, or husbands. I just don't do it. Right.
Right.
So I see what you're saying. They're utilizing the fact that a woman has this decency about herself and she has these boundaries in place, and they're utilizing that to get confused the issue.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
by the way, viewer Yvette, she says, good point, that she was wondering why Camille and Zadia had got so close so fast.
That's why. That's
Mm-hmm.
why. And just a little segue is a little bit off subject, but it's very important that people understand this and women understand this. I grew up, like I said, in Brooklyn, New York, but I know people from other big cities and other places and so forth. And I've known women who, grew up in the streets, or savvy women as far as their survival and so forth. And I've seen women, okay, befriend other women, whether, a best friend, a classmate, or whoever they claim that they want a relationship with this person, just to get this person into their house, to have their brothers and his friends molest this woman or do some bodily harm sexually to this person. Now I've seen
What?
this. Okay. So
Wow.
yeah, it happens all the time. So this kind of stuff, that because I don't want people to always to think, women are victims. They're weaklings. They're the weaker sex, so they're victims. No, that's not always the case. Okay, a woman's greatest tool is her ability to manipulate and use her sexuality and her innocence to get the things that she wants. And women will tell you that's what they do. Okay, so when I see Camille's behavior, I see a lot of women I grew up with. I seen a lot of the women that my friends complained about. My uncles, my dad, he complained about. So
Mm-hmm.
I just know the behavior. So
Wow.
for me it's disturbing. But
Mm.
but it goes way before my time, and it'll continue way after I'm gone.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Very good point. And the ladies are agreeing. Felicia, Yvette, they're all agreeing with the point that you've made. That's a very excellent point. Continuing on, we covered all of that on that point.
My number three. I'm gonna
Uh,
start off this time with my
okay.
number three.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. My number three is, and you let me know exactly how you feel about this, Yvette, Felicia, whoever's listening. Um, Having sex with someone doesn't mean you're in a committed relationship. And there's an ancient folk saying, and it says you can catch the devil, but you can't hold him long. And basically, what that means is, in terms of this discussion, you can catch the guy with sex, okay, and you can keep him there for a little while, and you have some fun for a little while, but the sex is not going to hold him. It's not going to sustain him after a while. He's going to need some kind of substance, okay, something else going on to keep him there with you. Okay, otherwise the sex is not going to hold him long. So don't get it twisted that just because you've given your body, that he's going to say, "I'm yours." That's not what men do. That's typically what women will do after after you've given yourself to a guy or whatever. You think, okay, well, because listen, nobody considers themselves to be, a loose woman, for lack of for better term than the other word I want to use. But nobody considers
Mm.
themselves to be a loose woman. They don't want that kind of reputation.
PG-13, Alex.
Yeah,
PG-13.
PG-13. Yeah,
Let's
PG
keep it
13. So
PG-13, right?
no one wants to be considered a loose woman and that kind of thing. So most women do have to have an emotional connection or bond with a guy that they're sleeping with. And they
Right.
and if they choose to do that, then they obviously want to be with that guy. Now you have some women out here who's been hurt in the past. They've been through devastating things in their past, or whatever the case may be. So they can just give it up and walk away. But those women are hurt. I mean, they're really hurt. Okay. So, but for the most part, it's as I've prescribed here, is that there's an emotional attachment.
Mhm.
Once you get guys, give yourself to a guy. You're like, okay, this is the guy I want. That's the
That's it.
statement.
Right.
Right.
That is.
But
That's
but
generally how most women feel. Many women feel that way. I agree with you. Yes.
but the guy is like, oh well, again, it goes back to, well, we haven't had a discussion. We didn't discuss this, so I can go around and sling it. And no, I don't want you to sling it. I want us to have the discussion. So
So, well,
but
well, okay, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying because let me phrase this in my way of thinking, and then you tell me if I'm right or not. If I'm understanding what you're saying, that women will tend to give up and have intimacy, have relations, sexual relations with a man and have sex, and for the woman now she's interpreting it, Alex. Um, okay, so the woman is interpreting it as being that the sex that they're having, it means that they're in a committed relationship, right?
right,
And that's what you're saying. But for the man, it doesn't necessarily mean that. And oftentimes it doesn't mean that at all. For the man, he has to have that conversation first. Is that what you're saying?
exactly.
Okay.
It's a discussion.
It's a discussion. And Felicia is in agreement. She's saying sex will never keep a man. Amen, Alex. I guess it is Sunday. Amen.
Amen. You
Oh,
know,
and then we got Yvette chiming in. Yvette says a couple has to have an understanding, and a spiritual and an emotional connection that will last more long term than just a sexual connection. And I agree with that.
yeah, I agree with that as well. 100%.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
100%. They're right. You know, and again, I think men, we're more geared to, having multiple
Conquering.
part, yeah,
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 conquering.
conquering, having multiple partners or whatever. And the problem with a lot of guys is once they conquer, they start to get bored quickly. They lose interest. Why? Because there's no other substance to hold them there. You know,
Right.
and that's the biggest thing. If they're having fun, if that woman making them laugh, if she can cook, if she's about her business and taking care of her business, whatever, that's a very, very attractive thing. That's hard to walk away from. But if she's just a sex partner, it's easy to walk away from that because you can always find a sex partner. So sex doesn't mean commitment. Sex is just a physical act. That's all it is.
Right. Right. That's true. And we as women have to understand that, but we also have to understand the way men think, that men and women actually do think differently. I think that's part of the issue, that men and women do think differently, and women oftentimes want to believe that men think the same way, and that's not the case. So definitely, to what you're saying, communication is key. Those conversations are key.
Yeah.
Getting
And
to those
and and, and,
conversations.
and contrary to popular opinion, women have egos too.
Oh
Just not
yeah.
as it's just not as big as a male ego. The male ego tends to be our downfall for the most part. But women have egos too, and the ego comes because women want to be seen as special. They want to be treated special. They want to be chosen. They want you to only have eyes for them when you're with them. It
Mhm.
used to be. I mean, when I was young, I had this old trick I used to pull when I was with my girlfriends. We would walk down the street because you see a beautiful woman walking towards you guys, right? You with your
Right.
girlfriend, and you see a beautiful woman walking towards, and you can tell from the front that she got a fat behind. Now you already know that
You can
because,
tell from the front, Alex. Did you wait
yep,
a minute? Let me see if I understand what you're saying. You can tell as a man, you can tell from the front. The woman is walking towards you, and you
yep,
can tell from the front that she has a
fat
uh
behind
okay,
because
whatever he said, guys.
because if she's hippie, if she got the hips and she's hippie and she got this little waist, well, you can typically tell the way she's walking.
Oh,
Um,
Like Camille on Ready to Love this season, like the way she's built up, right? She's kind of
right.
hippie to what you're saying. Okay, I got you
Right.
now.
So
Okay.
so when they're walking towards you, you can tell. So to not be totally disrespectful, when they walk by, you just turn abruptly, and look at they behind, and your wife or fiance, a woman or whoever knows, Why are you looking at her?
You mean your ex-wife, your
Yeah,
ex-girlfriend, your ex-fiance, but go ahead.
right. Yeah, them X, like all X's, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, because
So,
they're gonna be ex as soon as your head gets to swiveling around to look at some other
right.
woman. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
Right.
so what I would do is if I would see them coming, then I would act like I had to bend down and tie my shoe, or
Mhm.
that I dropped something, I got to pick it up, just to turn around and peek at that behind. And so it's not so obvious. But these are all things, the extent of things men will go to just look at other women, but try to maintain a respect level in doing it. And sometimes women know the trick, sometimes they don't, but it's what we do.
Well, to your point, and also she's asking the question that I'd like to know too. So, Yvette wants to know, why do men have to look? What's the point? She's saying that you're not going to be with that woman, so why are you looking? Why do you have to look? What is that?
Because we're very
Sounds crazy to me, by the way. But go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it may be, but because we're created to be very visual beings, like you said a few minutes ago, we're the hunters,
I
you
didn't
know,
say. Oh, the
and
conquering part. Okay.
right, the conquering part. Okay,
Mm.
so we're going to look because we're like, oh man, I like that type right there. Oh man, if I wasn't with my significant other or whoever, I can go for that. That's the kind of woman I would stop in the street and talk to, whatever. So it just is a pleasing to the eye thing. It's a stimulation thing, and I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna say this that women may not want to hear. If the woman is attractive enough that he's seen in the street, when he gets you home and lay down with you, and y'all are engaging, he's gonna be picturing that other woman.
Not if
You
his
know,
head swiveled around is not. He's
but
gonna be on. He's gonna be on his own between him and his palm.
listen. Oh, wait. Oh, PG. Keep it PG.
I did. I did. Think about what I said. I didn't say nothing. Your mind went there, but I just said his palm. Is all I said.
Well, his palm. That's cheating too, because that's Mary.
Well,
That that
uh,
that's Mary Palm. Mary Palm
PG
and her 5 daughters.
PG 13. PG 13. That's
Whatever.
the rule.
You gonna stop me, but you gonna go ahead with it.
Okay. All right.
you are a mess. Okay, so what is your number 3?
My number 3 is this, sir. It brings me right to where we just left off. My number 3 is that women really have to stop and begin to understand the true power and nature of their femininity, right?
Uh-oh.
And so, in saying that, I'm going to use some examples from this season, right? Understanding the power and the nature of femininity, that would be, for example, Sabrina in the situation at the resort, where Sabrina was resting in her femininity, resting in the very nature of it and the power of it, and she understands it. And how I know she understands it, because like you just mentioned a few minutes ago, she was on that raft and she was in that pool, and Mumin was sitting there talking to her guy, Walter, and she was just still just sitting there cool as a cucumber with not a care in the world, right?
Right. Right.
That's resting in your femininity. That is
Hmm.
resting in your femininity, and also resting in her femininity. We have an example with Aisha. Aisha has been resting in her femininity the whole entire season. And that's
Hmm.
why she didn't fret about Dante. She was having her conversations with Dante on the phone, even while he was dating uh, Zadia and other women. They were having their conversations and they were building up their emotional intimacy and understanding of each other, until when they got to the resort at such a time when they could be together in a more physical context. She rested in her femininity. She didn't worry. She didn't fret. She didn't pressure him.
Right.
Oh, and
And
I was just going to say, Yvette is in agreement here with me. It seems like she's saying, yeah.
Sabrina said what? Daddy said what? Because the comment went off.
Yvette is saying that, remember when Sabrina said daddy knows where home is?
Oh, okay, okay,
That's what
yeah.
she's saying. And she was resting in her femininity at that same time.
Hmm.
And yes,
Yeah,
thank you, Yvette. I appreciate that.
yeah, she did say that. Sabrina did say that. And the other thing too with that with Aisha is Aisha also, because you can never really truly be in love if you don't have some vulnerability, you know. And
Yes,
Aisha a few times this season, although she's a strong woman, you can see she's a strong woman. She takes care of her business, but she allowed herself at times to be very, very vulnerable. She cried. The men have comforted her and things of that nature, which is something Zadia resented because Zadia would not allow herself to become vulnerable, so she could not be comforted. What
I
Zadia,
never picked that up, Alex. That's amazing.
what Zadia wanted was to do wrong, berate people, and have her man go, I got your back. I got your back. And that's not the way to do business. So when Aisha was vulnerable and she would cry about the fact that she couldn't carry a few children and the fact that she had a failed marriage and a family before and things of that nature, the guys would comfort her because we want to do that for you guys. We really do want to do
Mm,
that for you. I mean, I'm speaking I'm
wow.
speaking as a man. We want to
Right.
be able to hold you and go, you good, let it out, cry, I got you. You know,
Wow.
the last thing we want is somebody that's going to go out there and start a fight with King Kong and go, come on, man, come on, be my man now. Come get in front of me and fight King Kong. No, you should have kept your mouth shut because that's King Kong. I'm not getting into that. And
Right.
that's something that Zadia would have done. Put her man into a fight with King Kong with her big mouth while she stepped back and let her man get stomped. It's that kind of thing.
Is that kind of thing. Felicia has a question for you, Alex. She says she wants to know how important is femininity to men, to a man.
It's very important because, like I said, you know, we want to protect you guys. We want to take care of you guys. We want you guys to cry and be vulnerable with us, and we can hold you and let you know it's going to be okay. It's like if we're in the bed, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, we're sleeping.
Hmm.
Okay, if you hear a window break at 3 o'clock in the morning, are you going to get up, or you expect your man to get up?
I expect him to go check it out.
You expect him to check it out, and that's what we want to do.
Right.
But then again, you have these women like Zadia who's always challenging your manhood.
Yeah.
I don't need no man for that. I don't need no man for that. I'm my own woman. I'm strong. I'm black. I'm strong. I'm this, right? Okay, well, when the window breaks at 3 o'clock in the morning, you get up.
We'll let you get it, huh?
You know, yeah, you go check it out. Protect us, man. Miss Man, protect us. Okay, so the guys want to do that. And so that's when we find a woman's femininity. And then, you know, a woman's walk, you know, the elegance, the way they're shaped is just a very, very attractive quality that men like. Very, very attractive things about women. So I love femininity. I love a feminine woman.
I think so too. I mean, I just say my thing is if I'm going to be all man as a woman, I'm not really sure what I really need a man for. If I'm going to be the man, I mean, just me. I mean, I think that women, and particularly in our in the African American community, I think that a lot of us as women and younger women, my age and even much younger than me, have gotten so caught up in this whole boss chick thing that they want to make that their calling card. And I think we saw a lot of that this season, which was in the perimeters of the show, we saw Tasia, we saw Zadia, and we saw Camille, and there was someone else, Courtney, that got released early on. We saw these four women who, in my estimation, this is just my opinion, they were walking in very masculine energy, and at least two of them. So Tasia and Courtney, we saw they got eliminated early on because the men saw that they were walking in their masculine energy and they didn't find it attractive at all. So I'm
Yeah.
not really sure who masculine behaving women really want to be. If you're not, if you're in a male female relationship, I'm not really sure who you're trying to be and what role are you going to leave for the man if you're walking in your masculine energy, understand that it's fine to be strong and to be assertive where you need to be assertive at work and in your profession. But in your personal relationship, women, some of these women are going to have to learn more how to pivot. They're going to have to learn how to pivot more.
Yeah,
That's what I
because
think.
women have to watch what they say. When you say, "I don't need no man," now obviously we know what you're trying to say. You can support yourself. You can support your kid. You can pay your bills. We know you mean that, okay? But when you're saying, "I don't need no man," understand that a man needs to feel needed. If he
Exactly.
doesn't feel needed, he's going to lose interest. He's not going to be bothered. Like, she don't need
Exactly.
me. You know what you need me for? So he's going to find a woman that needs him, that
Right.
understands I need a man.
Right.
So it's like I'm gonna tell you a quick story, Aubrey, and the listeners. It's a story about my brother. He was on a date once with a young lady,
Hmm.
and they go into the car. So he goes over to open her door. And she's like, "Wait a minute, wait, I can open my own door. I need no man to open no doors for me. I can open my own door." And my brother looked at her and said, "Listen, I'm not trying to open the door for you. I got to get in on this side."
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
so, so
Oh, because the car door on the driver's side, I take it was some kind of way it was unable
yeah,
to be entered into. Okay, right?
the lock was busted. Okay,
Okay, okay.
so but it's a funny story. But the fact that she jumped all over him,
Oh my
for
lord.
trying to open the door. It's like, really? And this is what, like you said, the boss B. They call themselves not boss Bs now.
Yeah, I
So
didn't want to say that. Like I said, I try to
right,
keep it PG-13 over here.
right. So they call themselves boss Bs and this and that. It's really gotten to them. And then with social media and stuff like that, it's gotten way way out of hand. With it. So we understand that women are powerful and can handle business. I mean, we know Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth. We know all about all these women. Angela Davis. We know. I mean, we know history. Okay, but we're talking about intimate relationships. Okay, when you're in
Right.
an intimate relationship with a man, he wants his wife or his woman to be vulnerable, to be feminine, and to need him. He
Yes.
needs to feel needed. Period.
I think you hit on something really important, Alex, just then. I think that in my estimation, my understanding of a man is that men have always wanted to be respected by women. It's important that they feel respected and needed. Whereas we as women, we need to be loved. We want to feel loved. And we also want to feel respected, right?
Right.
But people have to work out, and I'm not trying to tell anybody how to live their life or how to be less feminine, more feminine. That's on you. But at the end of the day, two individual people that come together for a united front, for a relationship, a commitment, a marriage, a love, a life partnership, they have to work out their arrangement for themselves as to what roles do they find to be comfortable and suitable for each of them as a unit, right?
Right.
That's what I think. So I mean, just that's just my thought. And now you
Right.
want to you want to
Well,
serve
you
us. Oh,
you
go
go
ahead.
to your number four. You want to do your number four? You want me to do my number four first?
Uh s- Stop giving. My number 4. Stop
Oh,
giving up the cookie to random men you don't really know and who aren't serious about committing to you. That's my number 4.
see now I'm mad at you now.
I'm not sure why you're mad at me.
I mean, because you
Why
messing up the
why are you
game.
why are you angry with me?
Why you got to mess up the game? You messing up the game now. You
What
know,
game are you referring to?
getting the cookie. What's wrong with giving up the cookie? What's wrong with that?
Okay, here's the thing. Here's the thing. So if women are out here dating and meeting men to just have sex and have fun and games, then there's nothing wrong, I guess, if that's how you live your life. That there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not gonna make any judgments on that. That's fine and well. However, I get the sense, and this is an observation from watching the episodes, and I'm not going to call out any names because I don't think that's fair, and I would hope that you maybe would do the same. But I get the sense that there are specific women that I could look at, and we could all kind of look at and say, I think that this woman right here has probably slept with this man, and the reason why she's behaving in a way that doesn't make sense to us as the viewers is because there's a lot we didn't see, right? So there's some things that are going on behind closed doors, and people are laying down and they're bearing, for the women, they're bearing their souls. So we kind of touched on this on another one of our points. The women are bearing their souls, but as you mentioned, the guy, if he has not said to the woman that I'm committed and in this to win it with you specifically and only you, then that's not what that means for a man to take off his clothes and to sleep with her, right?
Right.
So that's why I say that, women have to stop doing that. You have to really learn to take the cookie off the table.
Yeah. Well, let me say this about that, because women obviously feel like, and we've made you guys feel that getting the cookie is the ultimate prize. That's what we after. That's what we chase.
And it is.
Yeah, and it's true. And the whole thing is to get you guys in bed and say, yeah, I got her, and put another notch in our belt and all this kind of stuff. But let me say this, okay? I understand that a woman's body is sacred. You guys respect your bodies as you should, and it should be a privilege to lay down with you. But once two people are laying down, they're both sharing their bodies. They're both sharing their souls. And I'll go to even to saying this.
Mm-hmm.
Women, a lot of women, not all, but a lot of women, bodies are designed where they can have multiple orgasms during one outing. Okay. Men are designed to get one. Okay. So I don't understand what the fight is for. If you're having 8, 9, or 10 of these things, and I get one, you owe me. I want. I'm like the bank now. I'm like the bank.
I'm not so sure what this has to do with my point, sir. I'm not so sure.
Because you're saying,
get some backup out there. Backup, security. Backup. I need backup.
Because you're saying give up the cookies as if we're the only ones getting something. We're not. You're getting something too. It's an equal sharing of bodies, of energy, of time, of space. It's an equal sharing. And what the point I'm making is where it becomes uneven is if you're having a good time as a woman, you're going to just keep having them and having multiples. And the guy going to get one, and he's going to need to rest and replenish and all that.
Sir, you're talking from a purely physiological standpoint.
Right.
Yes, physical standpoint. Sir, what I'm discussing right now and right here today is how do women protect and care for themselves and nurture themselves. That's the difference. So we're comparing apples to oranges. You're just talking. No. Listen, you're just talking purely sexual. I'm talking about a whole person's heart and soul and spirit, like you said. And I'm not saying, I don't disagree with you on the part where you said that the man, his soul and his spirit or whatever is in play. I agree with you on that, sir. But the point that I'm making is that if women want to protect themselves and date better, and by the way, I want to stop and give this credit. So taking the cookie off the table is a concept that is spoken about quite often by one of my favorite people on YouTube on the planet, on the YouTube channel, and that is Janice Hilton. She talks about that all the time. And I agree with her. We really have to be more mindful and have the concept because sex has become in our society is casual. But that's a problem. That's a problem.
Right. And I'm laughing at Miss Allen because you see what she says? She says, "No, not you owe me." She's laughing. Oh my goodness! Did you see the comment, Aubrey?
Yes, I saw it, Alex. I did. But you can laugh all you want and try to be charming, but you're not Phil, so it's not working.
I'm not Phil. Listen, I agree
I,
that I agree that a woman, should hold out if she till she gets special feelings or whatever for the guy or whatever. But from a man's perspective, I feel the same way you guys feel. I'm putting myself out there. I mean, two people cannot get any more vulnerable with each other than when they both are there naked. That's about as vulnerable as you can get. Okay, so both are sharing of themselves and all that time and energy and space. What you're saying is, I understand totally what you're saying. Take the cookie off the table in the beginning and have something else that the guy would like to chase, something else that the guy would like to be with you for, other than the cookie. Because if you give the cookie too soon and the guy loses interest, then you're going to be upset because you're working backwards. It should
right.
be it should be let's spend some time together, let's have some dates, let's laugh, let's visit some places, let's do some things and work our way slowly toward an intimate, session or whatever. Don't do the intimate session first and then try to go on dates and stuff. That's working backwards and typically doesn't work. So I get what you're saying.
Okay, well, I'm glad you get it because I'm gonna say this, and I'm Misha Allen is in agreement with me. She said, "Whip him, Aubrey, whip him, girl."
Mm.
Well, it doesn't matter because hey, Misha, it doesn't matter whether he agree, disagree, what have you not, because at the end of the day, I'm standing on that point that we as women have to just learn to wait. We have to learn patience. We have to learn much more patience, okay? So that's important that we learn patience. And in the dating field, like I said, I'm not going to point to any, and I could if I wanted to. I'm not going to point to any specific names because I don't feel it's fair. And for women, our virtue, Alex, and I think you will agree with me on this, right? For women, our virtue is important and it's different. It's viewed differently than it is for men. Men, if they sleep with a lot of women, that's notches on their belt, right? But not
It's a
so
bad.
for women.
It's a badge of honor.
It could be a badge of honor. Right, right, right. That's right.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so I still stick to my point. And my point is that women, we have to learn to wait. We have to learn to wait and put ourselves first and really find out where's this guy coming from? Who is he? Who
Mhm.
is he? Because when you sleep with a man so fast, you see him, you get him home, he gets you home or whatever the case may be, and you're in bed now, the clothes are coming off, and then I know I'm going to say this. I'm going to confess this, okay? Pastor, forgive me. But back in my heyday, okay, so you do that. You go home with him. He looks good. You look good. All this and that, and you're using proper protection, of course. Okay, and you lay down, and then afterwards, immediately afterwards, I know I'm not the only woman that has had a regret and said, "Oh my goodness, what did I do, and why did I do it? Why did I do it?" And
Well,
it doesn't matter. Maybe the guy calls me a couple of times afterwards. We go on another a lunch date or we go out on a date or whatever. But I just don't like how when I in the past, when I was younger and when I was not being as thoughtful about my body and my essence, that how I would feel. How I would feel. And then you do become super possessive because now you feel like that man belongs to you.
right. And Yvette says men deposit into women and walk away, but women carry the tie.
And that's
And
exactly right, Yvette.
Mhm. Right.
That's
So I,
exactly
I,
right.
I agree with that. I'm not sure if Aubrey's whipping me or not because I'm making my points as a man that I'm going to stand by. But you know,
Yeah, the
um,
lady said, "Yeah, we know, we know, we
yeah,
know."
it,
I think you may have a few of your fans may have fallen off when you started talking about that little move, that little signature move you used to have back in the day. I don't know. You may still have it. Who knows?
so how do yeah,
That
I may
dropping
still have
down
it.
to tie your shoes when you don't even have any shoelaces. I mean, I don't know how that works out for you, sir, but
Drop
okay.
a pen or a piece of paper or something. Drop my wallet or
Mhm.
something. There are a
Oh,
lot of ways you
yeah.
can, yeah,
Right.
kind of tricks of the
Right.
trade. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
that kind of stuff
Right.
goes on. But yeah, okay.
Mhm. Moving along to your point number 4, sir.
Moving along to my point number 4 is my thing is assertive. yet calm women are attractive. Aggressive and angry women are not. And for me, it's so attractive to see a woman who knows what she wants and goes after it in an assertive, feminine way, in a soft way, in a calm way, but to let the guy know that she's interested, right? Because guys, I mean, we get tired of chasing, Aubrey. I'm going to be honest with you. We
Mm-hmm.
get tired of chasing all the time. We always got to chase, get rejected, chase, get rejected. It's exhausting. It's a numbers game. So
Mm.
there's nothing more attractive to us to
Mm-hmm.
when a woman is assertive and knows what she wants and comes after us, and we respect that. Say, oh man, I like how she did that. But when she's aggressive, and I think that's what happened with Courtney. I think Courtney, although she's
Mm-hmm.
very pretty,
Very pretty.
I think she's also very feminine in many ways, but she's very, very sexually aggressive. Okay,
Yes.
which is good for the short term, okay, but for the long term would be an issue. Because here's why in the long term. Let's say in the long term, the sex starts to slow down for whatever the reason. Life intervenes and life gets in the way. People have to go to work, take care of business, do this, that, or the other thing, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
sex doesn't come as easy as relationships go on, right? Now,
Mm-hmm. Right.
Somebody like Courtney who's hot-blooded and always ready to go,
Ready to
maybe
go.
really
Drop of a hat.
maybe
She's hot.
she's hot, ready to go. She may be susceptible to cheating on you. So that's something that you have to think about when you got somebody that's hot-blooded like that. Because that 7 day a week sex don't last long. It can't go on forever. It's going to go down to 3 days a week or twice a week or whatever it may be. Okay. And can the person you with deal with that without going off the deep end and seeking those pleasures elsewhere? You
Elsewhere.
know,
Right.
right. So I'm not sure what the audience thinks about that, what your thoughts are about that, but I just think that assertiveness, a calm, sexy assertiveness, is much more attractive than aggressive and definitely angry. Don't come aggressive and angry
Do
as a
you
woman. It's
do,
a turn off.
do you have any examples of the angry aggressiveness maybe from this season, Alex?
Um, Zadia comes to mind, obviously. Camille definitely comes to mind. I mean, any woman that starts talking about effing other women up, um, you know, a man got to look at that and go, "That's her go-to move." So,
Right.
we look at Camille and her
Miss
go-to
PhD,
move.
by the way. Miss PhD, right?
Yeah, Miss PhD, right? So her go-to move is to f people up. Now,
Right.
Sabrina also wants her man, but her go-to move is, look, I ain't got to worry in the world. He know where home is. He gonna come find me. He gonna choose me because I'm just walking in that sunlight. I'm walking in that confidence, you know. But I'm gonna let him know I want him. But I'm not gonna
Right.
be all aggressive and sitting in his lap and threatening other women. And I'm not doing all that because at the end of the day, he's gonna want me anyway. So that's the difference I'm talking about.
Okay. Okay.
So what are your thoughts or the audience thoughts about that?
Well, I'm in agreement. I'm in agreement with you on what you're saying about just not being that it's okay to be assertive. It's a good thing to be assertive. And I'm going to use this. I'm going to again take this to a personal example or level, right? I never when back in the day when I used to go out clubbing, right? I never had a problem getting a drink from a guy or socializing or whatever, right? And I'm not trying to brag or boast, but I'm just simply stating, the case. But there were times when I would really just sit and study and look at men because I am a people watcher by nature, right? And sometimes I would come across a guy who looked interesting, intelligent, well dressed, and was alone, didn't have a wedding band on, and so I would sometimes make it my point to have the bartender ask them what they were drinking. And I'm trying to tell you, this was just something that would drive men wild. To have an attractive woman, single, offer to buy a man a drink. And so I use that as an example because you don't have to do women don't have to do that exact thing. But I get what you're saying, Alex, when you say that. See, I think I'm a firm believer that women, when you're interested in a man, you have to show yourself, show him that you're interested. You have to show him that you're approachable. And that could be the slightest thing from a smile, a glance and a smile, um, just making yourself saying hello to this person, right?
Right.
But if we just to put ourselves up on a pedestal and just be like, you've got to come chase me. Here I am. Come chase me. Come chase me. You're right. I can see what that would be very tiring. And that would be like, because for each woman, it's not like you said, I think something you said earlier about it's a numbers game. Men have to approach so many women, and not all of them are going to be open to even having a conversation with that man. And all of us as people, I think it's men have egos and women have egos, right? and
Absolutely.
and we have to understand that. So in the whole scheme of things, it's okay to let people know, to let a man know that you're interested, that you find him attractive, that maybe there's something more that we could pursue. So let's, just a smile. Like I said, my one of my moves was, offering to buy a drink. And that usually led to a conversation, and whatever else after that, we as two consenting adults, determine what that meant, right?
Right.
But oftentimes, and I'll be truthful, oftentimes in the whole scheme of things, it really just led to really good conversation, and a friend and an acquaintance was made that day, that evening, that afternoon, or that night, right? I really just made some really cool friends that way, and they'll always go back to, remember, Aubrey, when we met, and remember how you bought me that drink or whatever. I thought that was so cool because women say that uh they're women, these boss chicks or whatever the phrase may be, and I'm not going to use that other word, but they say they're these boss chicks, but they can't even buy a man a $10, $11, $12 drink, or some scotch or bourbon or some Hennessy or whatever the thing may be, right?
Yeah,
And
because
so I don't have
yeah,
a
because
problem with
yeah, because if he wants me, he'll break the bank to get me. And I think that a lot of women, they use their, I guess, their private parts, for lack of a better term, as a mode of ransom. You know, you don't get this unless you spend certain amounts of money and show me by taking me here, doing this for me. I want to go eat at this restaurant, that restaurant, but before you get this. And I'm like, wait a minute. I got to do all of that before I lay down with you, and you're the one having multiple orgasms? Really?
Oh, would you get off of that?
Listen,
No,
because it goes,
I'm not gonna listen
Aubrey,
to you. That's the way we
Aubrey,
date. You gotta stop
Aubrey,
that. Quit being a
Aubrey.
hater. You got
No, I'm
Alex.
not.
Alex,
I'm not
quit being
hating.
a hater. Quit
I'm
being a
not.
hater.
How am I hating?
You're
How am I
hating.
hating?
You're
How am I
hating on
hating?
ladies. Come on, we're gonna
No,
move on.
no, I'm not.
You
I'm making
are.
a point.
What's your
I'm
point?
making a point. The point is, listen, if I want to take a woman out on a date, I'm all for that. I've been doing it my whole life. But don't make
Okay.
me think, I gotta take you out, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, all this stuff for 6, 7 months, just to have an opportunity to lay down with you. And then when that happens, your hair pop out your neck, you all over the place, this, and that. And I'm like, okay, so I spent countless amounts of money, countless amount of time, and she's more satisfied than I am. Okay, so who? Oh, who? There we go with that. Oh, again. Where's Miss Allen at? I need Miss Allen again.
We're losing on
But
this point. We are losing on this point because the,
I,
the, the
I'm
point that I
losing.
was making, was to stop giving up the cookie to random guys who aren't serious about you and aren't committed to you. That's my point. It has nothing to do with the dollar amount. And if you associate a
To
dollar
some women,
amount, if
to
no,
some women,
stop. This is the point that I'm making. I can't help every woman is not going to be the same. But if you're saying that, then you're already dealing with somebody who's operating from trans transactional viewpoint. Okay, so that's up to you. Just as I have to, as a woman, I have to observe and to acknowledge and see what I see. You have to observe and acknowledge what you see. And if you're dealing with a transactional person that you got to give 50 before you can get this and 100 before you can get that, well, guess what? You may as well be dealing with the prostitute, sir.
And you have to understand that there are a lot of women out here like that.
Well,
Period. You have to acknowledge that. Don't
that's
act like they
sad.
don't exist.
That's sad. You're right. You're right. Well, that's transactional people, and you're right. But they exist in male and female form because at the same time, here, listen to me on this one, Alex. Okay, now tell me if I'm mistaken. There are men who can take you on a first date, and because they say, well, oh, I want to take you to this VIP, this top echelon restaurant, right? Listen to what I'm saying. They take you there, they spend all this money, and then what? They expect that you're going home with them that same night. No, sir, I'm not. That was your choice to pick that restaurant. Are you
Agreed.
following, are you following what I'm saying? So these people in male and female forms are transactional people. And that's not the way I want a relationship to be. I'm not looking for a transactional relationship. I'm
I,
not in the business of selling my body for a date or a burger or a steak because I can buy my own steaks.
mhm.
Okay.
I agree with you.
I can buy
And,
my
and
own lobster. Okay.
mhm.
All right.
Listen, that's just the point I was making from the opposite, from a male's perspective. You're making it from a woman's perspective. It's the
Okay.
same thing. Transactional people. Okay. But I do agree with you with the buying a drink. I had an incident once where I was just sitting at home doing nothing. And a friend of mine called me up, young lady. She said, hey Alex, what you doing tonight? I was like, oh no, I'm just home chilling. She said, you want to go to the movies? I said, yeah, sure. What you want to see? She told me what she wanted to see. She said, we go to movies, then it's on me, you know,
Okay.
and, and I'll come pick you up. Now,
Wow.
yeah, now there's nothing more attractive than that. I mean, that had me on such a high, you know what I mean? Because contrary to popular opinion, men want to feel wanted as well. We want to feel wanted. We want to feel desired. So for her to just call me out the blue and do that, I was on such a high. And this happened a couple of times in my life, a few times, but it doesn't
Okay.
happen often.
Okay.
It doesn't
Okay.
happen often. And I think I would love if it happened more often, but I
Mhm.
just don't think I just don't think most women are wired that way. The way you prescribed with the drink, most women are not wired that way. They don't understand the power in that soft, feminine assertiveness. Let me
Mhm.
get a drink and slide it down the bar to that man. You know, whatever. We see it in movies, right? The guy get a drink, he slide it down there to the woman or whatever.
Mhm.
But let's say a woman do that. It's such an attractive thing, you know, to a guy, you know, because we at the end of the day, we're still human beings too. We just
Yep.
approach these things differently, but we're
Right.
all just
We
human.
do. We do. You're right. We do. We do.
So
You're
yeah.
absolutely right. Well, I'm gonna say this though. If I'm buying you top shelf, I'm not sliding nothing down. I'm gonna let that bartender set it down very carefully. Okay. So not one drop is missed. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want that snot.
Yeah.
I don't want that Hennessy going to waste. All right.
Yeah, I hear you. Wow.
Okay. All
But
right.
this has been, you know, I'm excited about this show tonight, Aubrey, because it's very stimulating conversation. I love stimulating conversation. I love to talk to people who know what they're talking about and who can come back and forth with intelligent conversation. You know, I like that. So, but I have my number 5 here.
All right. All right. I'm listening.
And my number 5 is, and this is something along the lines of what we were just discussing, maybe a little bit different, but love is one thing. Financial stability is another, AKA Sean. Remember,
Yeah, I
remember Sean?
remember Sean. Sean, yeah, if we get married, I can pay a bill or two. Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
him. Sure.
Because here's the thing, okay? You can love all day long, but I know with women want to feel that sense of stability. They want to feel like you can take care of them. They want all this boss chick stuff that blah blah blah. At the end of the day, they still want to know that a man can take care of them. If a
Right.
woman just gets up one day and say, you know what, I don't feel like working no more. I'm going to close the business. I'm tired. I just want to be a mother and bake cookies. They want to know that
Right,
they
right,
want to know that that man can pick up and take care of business without skipping a beat. That
right,
nothing within the household structure will suffer. They
right.
want to know that. Okay, so it's like, remember the old song back in the day, ain't nothing going on but the rent.
Okay, yeah, I remember. Right,
Okay,
right, right.
and the tagline of that song was "No romance without finance." Okay, and of course Gwen Guthrie, who was the artist, she played with it and stuff. But basically, she said what I'm saying right now is that if a woman doesn't feel stability in her household, if she don't feel financially stable, residentially stable, that you can handle your business and care for her, whatever, it's not going to be any sex. It's not going to be any love. It's not going to be any of that
There's not gonna
because
be
it's
any
too
lights on in the house.
right. It's not going to be because it's not going to be any of that going. No lights, no gas, nothing.
Right.
Because that's too much stress on a body to have to worry about the roof over your head every day. If your cell phone going to be off, if they're coming to get the cars to repo them or what, you got to worry about that stuff every day, every month. It's too
No.
much stress, and nobody got time to be trying to lay down and have intimate moments when all that stuff is building up within you. You know, they say 80 to 90% of illness is stress related. You know,
Mm.
stress can really
Wow.
damage your body. You know what I
That makes
mean? So
sense. That makes
yeah,
sense what you're saying. So no
so
romance without
no,
without finance. And
no.
it's so funny too because I'm kind of I have to laugh because I think that most of the men this season, from what they're saying their professions are and what we can see online on their IG page or what have you not, most of the men this season seem to be fairly well heeled. We've got engineers, we've got electrical engineers, we've got cybersecurity, we've got IT managers, and these are people that, generally speaking, make, six-figure incomes. So,
Yeah, they make
um,
money. They
they're
make
making
money.
good money. But the one guy that came on Shine, I guess he said, well, he could pay a bill or two. I don't know. I don't know why that is, but or what he meant by that. But in the
It turned
real
everybody
world,
off.
right, in the real world, exactly. That's exactly what it did. And if you go back, even before he got to the point where he actually said that on the date with Sabrina, if you go back before that, when they first introduced him to the group, because we know that he and Sydney came in 2-3 weeks after the show had started, that when he came in and they asked him his occupation and he got to talking about these various things that he did, the women were kind of like, when he walked away, they were kind of like, so does he have a job? Does he have benefits?
Mhm.
It just didn't look good for him. It just
Yeah,
really didn't look
he
good.
basically said, "Oh, I'm an artist. I create stuff." That was his
Yeah,
explanation, and it's
right.
like, which is very vague. So it's like, okay, what does that mean exactly? You know,
Exactly.
because we all know the term broke artist. You know what a
Right.
broke, kind of thing. So that's the first thing women going to think of. Unless you've been on TV several times and you're in movies and you're the star of the movie and whatever, then you can say, okay, I'm an artist or whatever. But if you just say I'm an artist and they've never heard of you or seen any of your work or anything like that, they're gonna immediately equate that to being a broke artist.
Well, yeah, they're gonna. I mean, well, I think it's okay. Again, I look at it this way. Men. I've heard men say, "Well, women are always worried about how much men make, and they're always want to know and comparing men." And I say, "Well, yeah, since we are the ones that have the children, I think that it makes sense. You guys are looking for beauty and you don't want anybody to question you because you guys are always saying, I'm visual, I'm visual, I'm visual. Well, guess what? We as women have to protect both ourselves and the children that we will bear and we will bring into the relationship, i.e., marriage. And so, from that standpoint, if you're out here dating for marriage, you are going to be concerned about, can this guy sustain a household? Period. Now, what that household may be, whether it's a little house, a medium-sized house, a big house, or a mansion, that's fine, whatever the people agree upon. But can you sustain a household, sir? And paying a bill or two in today's environment does not equal sustaining a household.
But you know what? And I will say this, Aubrey, and to you and all the other women that are listening. You have women who, and Charlamagne the God just said something which is very powerful because he was asked. Charlamagne the God is a big radio personality, Breakfast Club, so forth.
I'm
If you never
familiar.
heard of who
Yeah.
he is, everybody know who
No,
he is,
I'm
right?
familiar. I'm familiar.
Right. So they asked him recently, why didn't you get a prenup? Which for your wife, because rich men, want to get prenups to protect their money and so forth. And he was like, this woman used to give me car fare to the radio station. I didn't have a job when I couldn't get to work. Okay, she did my resumes for me. She did this. She did everything to build me up to be
Right.
who I am today when I had nothing.
Right. So why
Right.
would he get
So
a
why would I get a prenup?
that's crazy.
That was his response. Why would I get a prenup? So I say all this to say, people always say, for women, don't marry potential. Okay. But sometimes women fall in love with a guy who has great potential. They just may fall for him. He may not be rich right now. He may not have a whole lot right now, and they may fall for the guy. Okay. And
Okay.
help him become this huge, huge thing. And when they help him do that, now they're set for life. Even if they divorce, look at Dr. Dre's wife. Okay, look all the money she's getting in the divorce every month, every year, millions and millions of dollars, because she earned it. She was with him before he became quote unquote Dr. Dre that we
Oh,
all
right.
know.
Right, Dr. Dre. Yeah, sure.
Okay, so
They've been married forever. So, I mean, I
forever.
kind of laughed at the people that are being so cynical and questioning whether she deserves it or not. I mean, well,
Ain't no vagina worth all that. Well, it's not about her private part. It's about how she supported this man before he was anything. When
exactly.
he was still living with his mama and didn't have a place to live, didn't have any money. She was there. So women that do that and build the man up and everything and help build the situation that they're in, they
Right.
deserve all the kudos in the world. They deserve everything that this life has to offer because they paid their dues. Much more so than a woman who walks into a ready-made situation where a guy
Situation, right.
has everything already.
Well,
You
right.
know,
I can see that. I can definitely see that. And I think like we were talking about this a couple of live chats ago when we were talking about this very thing, but we were talking about the singer Mary J. Blige and her ex-husband and how he ended up with I guess proceeds from the divorce. And I don't know exactly what they were, but I think she didn't have a prenup when she married him,
right,
unfortunately,
right,
and it kind of worked out, in his more so in his favor, whatever it was. But that's okay. The queen still reigns.
right. Because
Mary J. Blige. Mhm.
she was
She was
already
already
Mary J.
established. She was
She was
already
already,
established.
yeah,
Yeah.
she's already Mary J. Blige, that
Right.
we all knew. She's already famous.
Right.
So and Whoopi Goldberg herself, I think in her first marriage, she paid a whole bunch of alimony to. So women do pay alimony. It just
Right.
depends on the situation,
It does.
But
It does.
but but the point is, my fifth point was that love and finance typically goes together because there are two things that mainly ruin all marriages or relationships. That's money or infidelity. Those are the top two. Now,
You're right.
other things may come into play, whatever the case is, but those are typically the top two. And I challenge anybody to dispute that.
Well, I won't dispute it. I agree with you. I think you're right. Finances definitely play a part, and I just want to make it clear for people that are watching that it's not just really about that you have to be wealthy, that you have to earn six figures, but you know what? At the end of the day, you want to be able to financially to be financially stable. And whatever that means for you at whatever level and what town or city you live in. Some cities we know the cost of living is a lot different than in others. The cost of living is higher in New York than it is in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So
Mhm.
again, so it's all dependent on where you are in that. Um, uh, can I go on to my number five?
Yeah, and the last point, money management skills. If somebody has great money management skills,
Ah, yeah,
that
that's a good one.
that can take you a long, long way. Don't matter how much you're making, but if you got great money management skills, take you a long, long way. But yeah,
Did
go on to your number five.
No, and discipline too. I'm going to say that
Yeah, absolutely.
discipline.
Yeah. So what's your
Yeah.
number five as
My
we
number,
start to close out?
as we close out, yep, we get ready to close out. So my number five is um, that people know. Let me see. I'm sorry, my phone just closed. That we know as women, we know that nice guys are simply men at the end of the day, right?
Hmm.
That we know, and by that I mean this. So, we can see a guy coming and, we get to know him and he comes across as a really nice guy, a guy who has moral values, integrity. He tells you about his family, he's upfront with you, and he's open and he seems vulnerable, right? But like in the case of, I will use the example of like in the case of Phil and Shiloh, this guy at some point starts to kind of closing off and you're asking him direct questions and he doesn't want to answer them. He doesn't give you a direct answer. Instead, he gives you a peck on the lips as if to shut you up. So we as women have to know that the nice guys are simply men in the end. And by that, I mean, going back again to this conquering thing. So sometimes men still get into this way of being that now that I've conquered you, you're not as important to me. You're not a priority. And now I've got to go off and I've got to conquer somebody else, i.e., the guy that has to drop down and tie his shoes when the big behind lady walks by. So, so, so we as women have to really understand that at the end of the day, and I say this also about men who are widowed. Men who are widowed, women like to oftentimes when they run across these newly widowed guys or guy that's been widowed for a couple years, and we're still taking the cakes over and the meals over to the guy, and we have to understand that even this widowed guy who's quote unquote a so-called nice guy, he's still just a man. So read that however you want, but I think you will understand if you read between the lines what I'm trying to say in a nice way, right?
Yeah. What you what you're saying is nice guys cheat too.
I'm
And
saying I'm saying that basically I'm saying that, yeah, that good men, right? Good men can have lapses in their moral judgment. Yes, they
hmm
can. And you have
right.
to recognize that, and you have to be able and willing and able to call them on the carpet on it. And you also have to be able, more importantly, you have to be willing to walk away.
hmm But
Yeah.
you know what's crazy, Aubrey, and I've seen this in my own life again. Friends of mine life, other guys talk about this, whatever.
Hmm.
When you got a wedding ring on, it's almost like a magnet to some women. You
I,
know,
I knew you were going to say something like that, and I
I
agree
mean,
with you. I've seen that. I've seen
it,
that. I've seen women be like that. Yes.
it's unbelievable because we always talk about women respecting women and sisterhoods and this and that and that. But when a man got a wedding ring on, women come. I'm going to conquer this man, even though he married. I'm going to conquer him, whatever. And they come after these married guys,
Wow.
and because so it's not always the men. I get what you're saying, and you're right. And I agree with it,
Hmm.
but it's not always the men in these
Okay.
type of
Okay. Now that's
situations.
fair. That's fair. That
It's
is
just
fair.
yeah, it's just not. And I'll say this too. It's like when you say nice guys are gonna, they still men, which is true. But when we're in school, when we're young, Aubrey, and we're going through school, whatever, and you're a
Yes.
nice guy,
Yes.
you're definitely the one that you don't get any play from any women.
No.
They want the guys on
No.
a football team. They want the guys that cut class and hang in the hallways. They want the bad
the bad,
dudes.
the bad guy,
They
the
want the
bad guy,
bad
the
dudes.
bad boy. Yeah.
So then you like then they make up these sayings. Nice guys finish what? Last.
Last.
Right?
Yes.
So what do we do now? So we carry that through life, being nice guys. So we say, you know what? I'm gonna use this nice guy crap as a facade, as a tool to get what I want, and then I'm gonna throw her away like they did me when I was young, kind of thing. I'm gonna show this nice guy because I said this before. there's a difference between a sociopath and a narcissist, right? Because people can hide stuff for a long, long time until they get what they want before them true self come out. The only difference between a narcissist and a sociopath, they're both manipulators. They're both are cunning. They're both conning. They're both controlling. They have all these similar traits. But a sociopath will be plotting your death. That's the difference. That's
Oh
the
my
that's the
goodness.
main difference.
Oh
Yeah,
good Lord.
that's the main difference. You
How
see
did
what I'm
we end
saying?
up here, Alex? How did we
Be,
end up here? We're
because
just talking about
we,
dating.
we, we're talking about nice guys, and I'm telling you about the disguises of nice
Oh.
guys that many times get shaped through their adolescence. Okay,
Mm, okay.
when they get rejected for being nice constantly. I'm a nice guy. I keep getting rejected, so now I got to be a butthole just to get a woman. I got to be an a-hole, really? Okay, so that's what I got to be. But now I'm going to use my niceness as a disguise. But underneath, I'm going to be a butthole at the end of the day. So
Mm,
sometimes we get shaped. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, Aubrey. I'm not saying
okay.
it's right. I'm not saying that.
Yeah, because that's woo.
Okay, I'm just telling you that is a
Help me,
reality.
Yvette, Felicia, Misha, help me.
That is, that is a reality that people have to live with. Sometimes
Yeah.
we create the people that we hate most. You know,
Mm,
there's an old saying that goes around and says, "What you despise most will end up in your family." So if you're the type of person who you hate gay people for whatever reason, you're gonna end up with a gay relative. Okay, you hate a woman who's a loose woman or out in the street. That's what you're gonna end up with, or they're gonna end up in your family, a sister or something. So we have to be very careful how we shape people, how we treat people as we go through life in general. Treat people as you want to be treated. That don't mean, like you said before, giving up the cookies to everybody, but just be a kind person. Be a nice person. Because people always remember kindness, but they also never forget how badly you treated them. Never forget that. They'll never
wow,
forget it.
that's a good point. That's a good point. I think you know what is that says it all. At the end of the day, I like that as being like one of the number one things is that how we treat people. If we all learn, men and women, right? If we all learn to treat people the way we want to be treated, dating will become a lot less problematic. And we're just honest with each other, right? That
Absolutely.
that in dating, oftentimes there's what we would say maybe sometimes a hidden agenda or an agenda that's unspoken. Let me say it that way. An unspoken agenda. Maybe I'm looking for a husband. Maybe you're just looking for arm candy, say it that way. Maybe the next guy, maybe he's just looking for another notch on his belt. But I think when we cut away all of the superficiality of dating, that we really need to get very clear within ourselves what we're looking for, what we need, what we want, what we're willing to deal with, and then really try to observe and see and speak to and communicate with the other person to find out what it is their needs and wants are too, right?
Right.
And see if that's a match because everybody's not going to be a match and that's okay. I think some of my best friendships right now with men are men that I used to date. One of my
Mm-hmm.
best male friends I was actually engaged to, and that's okay.
Right.
We were together for like 4 years and that's okay. We're the best of friends now, right?
Right. That's
And
right.
and we can talk about and we share a period in our history and our time together where we were very loving to one another. Did things work out that we ended up getting married? No, they didn't. But because
Mm-hmm.
we always treated each other with love and respect, right? That's why we can be best friends today, like over 20 years later, right?
Right. Right.
And so we
Yeah.
all just learned that lesson, maybe.
And that's how I am with my first wife. We're just the best of friends. Me and my first wife. I've been married twice. And me and my first wife were just the best of friends. We just talk about everything, and we don't talk often, but when we do talk, we talk for an hour or so, catching up or whatever the case may be, because there's such a mutual respect there. Because we have the children, we have grandchildren, we have similar things in life that we're going after as far as ventures or whatever the case may be. We could talk about a myriad of subjects, which I like. I like
Mhm.
conversational stimulation. So but there's a respect there, and that's what it is. It's not a thing where I'm after her, I'm trying to get with her again. And no, it's a mutual friendly thing because there's a respect there. And I think it's very important. Maya Angelou said, she said, people may forget what you say, but they'll never forget how you made them feel.
Right. That's
you
right.
know so it's just very important. As you say, kindness goes a long way, but people think to get attention a lot of times they got to be a-holes and this that and be aggressive and be boss chicks or get 50 women in 1 year, and whatever the case is, they think they got to do these things to get 1,000 likes on social media or whatever. And
Right.
that's really not what it's about.
Right.
That's not what it's about. We've lost it someplace. And hopefully, hopefully we'll get it back, or can be, a tool. You and I maybe could be a tool to help, audience members or whoever get it back. But I think kindness before anything else.
Kindness before anything else. I want to thank all of you guys for joining us tonight on the broadcast. I want to thank you. I want to thank Yvette, Felicia, Misha. There's so many more. I want to thank all of my new subscribers. And if you haven't subscribed already to my channel, actually, Aubrey, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and click that like button right now while you're on this broadcast, and go ahead and subscribe, because I'm going to treat you right, right? And Alex and I, we may have a very special upcoming interview in the new year. Alex, you want to mention a little bit about that, or should I save that for a surprise for later?
Yeah, I want to save that for later, but we
Okay,
definitely going to have some surprises for the
okay,
new year. And
absolutely, absolutely.
yeah, it's going to be a wonderful thing.
Yeah, and well, I will say this. So we have a broadcast coming up later this week. I'm not certain of the date right now. We'll tighten that up and we'll post it, but it'll be later this week. We're going to have a end of the year where we discuss so many of the hot topics. Right, we're going to discuss Pastor Devon Franklin, I believe it is, with
Yeah, and
Megan
making good.
Good. Megan Good's story. We're going to discuss more about Ready to Love, because we're going to have so much more to talk about on that. And then even Gil and Mirla on Married at First Sight. We're going to bring all of that and just little tidbits here and there about the celebrities and what's going on, and what do we get out of that in 2021 as we head into 2022, right?
Right.
Right. So we want to thank everybody on the broadcast. We want to thank you for being here. Thank you. You could have been anywhere else and you chose to be with us here on Actually Aubrey. I'm actually Aubrey Vaughn, and this is Alex.
Yes. I know you wanted me to go right there. Sorry. This is Alex W. Leaf. You can find me on Instagram, AW Leaf 67 on Instagram, Facebook, Alex W. Leaf. You can find me there. And I'm a filmmaker. Go to Amazon.com Prime. Look for Cycle, CYCLE. Let's get this thing popping off. But I thank you all, love you all, appreciate you. Thank you, Aubrey, for having me again.
Thank you for being a guest. You're always a special guest. So I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule. And yes, I will say again, I definitely recommend Cycle. I've seen this film. It's on Amazon Prime now, and if you have Amazon Prime, go see it. If you don't have Amazon Prime, I think for a nominal fee, you can rent this movie and you can view it with your family, friends, or anybody that may be going through that situation. And I thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Condessa. Thank you, Yvette. just you guys are wonderful. You really, this is my first year with the YouTube channel. You guys are gonna make me cry. Oh my gosh. It's my first month and a half, and already I'm striving to try to get that 100 subscribers, guys. So if you want to join, I'm at about 70, so I need about 30 more of you subscribers. I'm gonna give you value, and I'm telling you, we've got Alex doesn't want to tell you, so I'm gonna respect his wishes. But we've got a some great interviews coming up in the new year. We've got a lot of material, and we're going to be meeting back before the end of the year, guys. We're going to bring you another live chat. So make sure you subscribe now and hit that notification bell so that you can be the first to know when we go live. Okay, guys? Thank you so much. Again, I'm actually Aubrey, and that's
A wrap. I'm Alex Leaf. Love y'all.
love y'all. We're out.